a.m. And are we starting? Yeah. Well, it says that we're starting. And now we're live. Boom. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is kind of it's an unannounced live stream. And yeah, it's Tunes for Tuesday. And since I am unable to play guitar for you folks, I thought maybe you'd be interested in some readings of poetry and stuff that I've written in my book, Napkin, Rants. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing. That's why I didn't create an event for this thing, because I didn't know if anybody would be into it or not. So I just thought I'd just do a freaking live stream and excuse me, see where we'd go from here. So anyway, the last week has been pretty heavy on me. A friend of mine passed away, and yeah, it's never good, man. You know too many people, and the same amount of people start dying on you. You know, the older you get, and the older they get, and you know, we're not all around forever. And so yeah, my coping mechanism is to hibernate in as deep a hole as I can and not come out. And I took a few days off of work just to kind of get my shit together, and eventually I made my way outside and connected with a couple of good friends, and yeah, it was good for me. So yeah, here I am, and I thought, we would just call this Croons on Tuesday or something. I couldn't fit it. I couldn't fit a poetry reading into the Tuesday thing that I got going on. There will be eventually, and I think probably coming soon, there'll be another Tunes on Tuesday. Just gotta get this thing healed up, and once this is healed up and I can play, like I did before this happened, then we'll continue with season 4 of Tunes on Tuesday. So yeah, so we got that going on. Anyhow, we still got Horror Hump Days, which is tomorrow night, and tomorrow, actually, I was just reading through the story today, and it's not really a horror story per se. It's more it's more about kind of what existence is like after death, and yeah. So anyway, if you're interested, tune in tomorrow at 8:00, and I'll be reading that. It's called the Death of Lou Bradford. I think I had it down as the Ballad of Lou Bradford, but it's the Death of Lou Bradford. So anyhow, that's the name of that story, and I'll be reading that tomorrow night. Other things going on. Downtown Winthrop has they're rebuilding it. They're redoing the roads and the storm sewers and all that stuff. And the new sidewalks we got in are super wide. They're like really wide sidewalks. And I thought, how can we utilize that? And at the same time, my friend Bobby and his wife Beth had a small opening, soft opening on their Mercantile, which is like an antique shop. And they also were gracious enough to have an art show with Stephanie's artwork in it, and it was a pretty good turnout both nights that they did that. And so I got the idea kind of from that, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to pull together as many local artists as I can to have an art festival here in Winthrop along the main drag here that they're redoing. I think it'll be good for the small businesses we have in town. I think it'll also be good to, because there are a lot of artists in this area that are not, they're not getting noticed. There was a guy that had been here for quite a while who nobody really, they knew he was an artist, but nobody really took a look at his work or anything. So I thought this was a way for local artists to kind of show off their stuff, sell some of their stuff, and share it, get them noticed, and also a way to bring people from the cities, from Mankato, New Ulm, and bring some of those people here to this town, and just show some culture and show off some art, show off some talent. I've gotten a handful of people that are interested right now in the project, and they've sent me samples of their work, and it's like, holy cow, you guys are out there. I knew they were out there, I just didn't know how to get a hold of them, and they showed up. So that's really cool. I talked to the city manager about it, and he gave me some resources to talk to as far as getting grants and getting things planned out and all that other stuff. I'd like to have a couple of food trucks out there. I'd like to have a stage out there, a flatbed trailer, and have local musicians come and play for an hour or two out there, and just have kind of a local flavor type of thing, and have people in the bigger towns come out here and shop and enjoy the art and the music and whatever else is out there. I might have a booth out there with my books available, and maybe some drawings that I've done. And I know Stephanie is going to have a booth out there, and her daughter, with some of the things that she makes. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about it, and I'm hoping it goes forward. So yeah, that's kind of what's been going on with me, and just trying to get out of this funk. And I'm getting out of there. I see the lip of the hole that I've been in, and I'm pulling out of it. So anyhow, I have 0 viewers right now. And that's totally fine, and maybe I'm just talking to myself, which I do a lot anyway during the day. I did a lot during this time I've had off. So anyhow, well, without further ado, I'm going to take a big gulp of my coffee and read from you my book, Bar Napkin Rants. Now, this book is a series of things I wrote down while I sat in my buddy's bar called Pimo's. Hey, Steph. and my buddy's bar that was in town here. And anyhow, it's kind of how I work through a lot of my shit. And that's she's got the farting bees. And it's how I work through a lot of my shit is by writing. And the novel I'm working on in the background is kind of a way of processing my past. And this book, Bar Napkin Rants, was just it was written with a lot of whiskey and probably other mind altering substances. And a lot of pity and all that other stuff. And it was during a time when I wasn't doing so hot. I was dealing with the death of my mother. I was dealing with cancer and breakup and death of my dog. It could have been a country song. So yes, I can see you. I can see you, Steph. So anyhow. Yeah, so that's kind of how the book came about. As far as books of poetry goes, I've got 2 that are still out there in print. One's called Broken Mirror Reflected, and that one that was like my first book I ever published, and that one wasn't as popular, I guess, in the self-publishing world. Wasn't as popular as this one was. This one still sells quite a few copies, which makes me happy. But yeah, this I've gotten more feedback on this one than I have the other one, and I think the other one is just really thick and it's really tough. Hey, Kev. Hey, good to see you, buddy. Yeah, I didn't know if I was gonna see the whole regular crowd here because I didn't set up an event. This is just kind of an impromptu thing after being in my head all week. So yeah. So anyhow, yeah, Bar Napkin Rants is the name of the book, and it's called that because the majority, I would say 97% of the material that I wrote in there was written in a bar on a napkin. So, yeah, it got pretty bad to the point where my drinking buddies had an intervention on me. So yeah. Anyhow, I decided I'm going to drag you all into that world, and yeah. So I'm going to start here with the intro. Bar Napkin Rants. Introduction. Okay, so here we go. Another book of poetry or ranting that I thought was important enough to publish and try to sell it to you like I'm some deep thinking guru of life. I'm not. I'm just some guy who spends a lot of time in his own head, scribbling thoughts to make sense of it all. I don't know what to put the category of this book into. It is more or less observations through my eyes, living through cancer, abuse, divorce, fatherhood, childhood, love, hate, joy, etc. A thank you to my favorite watering hole, Pimo's Bar and Grill, for giving me a place to hang my hat and treating me like family. I fell into you. I was a bit surprised. I started watching the debate. I lasted 10 minutes. Is that who that's who I'm going up against is the debate? Is that the vice presidential debate? Huh. Okay. Well, I'm glad I won out in your world, buddy. Fueling my brain with Jack and Jameson, and loving me when I needed it and loving me when I didn't. I love you both, Joe, my braciszek, and Renee, mia sorella. Hope you enjoy this piece of my heart, that you're holding it in your hands, so that's a start. Brad Brownman Bodeker, 2018. Hey, Chuck. Chuck is here as well. All right. So Brownman is the nickname that I had in a bar, like most groups have. Hey, Dwayne's here too. That's awesome. Wow, you guys are all coming in. That's cool. That's awesome. So yeah. Let's see. The first napkin is this little bit. People are masochists. Oh, you know what? We gotta have mood music, right? When you read poetry, you gotta have that mood music. If Stephanie was here, she was gonna play her bongos for you. But she's absent, so we're getting canned music. That's a little jazzy, right? Okay, here we go. People are masochists. They always run away from what they say they want, and they embrace what they claim they don't. And the narcissists wait for the crumbs to drop. Napkin 2. When you shatter the illusion, you're left with nothing but broken glass and bleeding knuckles. But oh, that sweet release. And here's a poem called Babysitter. The diode lit, zippity zap, pop snap. Its electrical heartbeat thudding to life. Eye opened, ready to drain the brain and change us to human stains. We connected our computers, our game systems, our lives and our kids, sacrificing them to the televised God, which preaches of redneck gospel, Amish mysticism, bachelors and bachelorettes, karaoke dreamers and wannabe Hollywood glam glitz, and commercials on zits. The babysitter opens its digital maw, and we gladly climb in. Brought to you in Panavision, smart screen, three-dimensional brain death. Say goodbye to ambition, nutrition, and pass me the popcorn. This is napkin number 3. Sometimes those memories, those scars, are just too deep that no amount of writing or drinking will heal them away. And that's when you just click save, take a deep 1 1/4 breath, pet your dog who's been with you through it all, click off the light, and dream of other things. And here is an excerpt from a book that I was attempting to write, and I ended up not writing it, so I just put little excerpts in it, called Love is Irrelevant, number 1. Let me explain something about split-level homes. The garage is usually tucked under the master bedroom. This is important because at around 4:35 a.m., I felt the garage door open beneath us. Dee, I shook her. She said in a tired voice. Do you have a roommate? No, why? I just heard the garage door open. What? Yeah. Fuck, you gotta go. What? Why? Who is it? It's my husband. Your what? Hurry! I was trying to get my pants up while she shooed me to the sliding glass door. She opens the sliding door and shoved me out. And it was a new home, and the deck hadn't been built yet. I fell roughly 15 feet, with my pants around my ankles. I laid there making that "hurr" sound you make when the wind is knocked from you. Hey, Bobby. Bobby made it as well. Napkin number 4. Write, you lazy bastard. Don't let up until you've bled and cried every word you type on that fucking machine. Napkin number 5. And that's the lesson. When you're single and bouncing around from heart to heart at my age, every woman has already made a promise, just not to you. Every woman has already given her soul, just not to you. You get the leftovers, and you pay the ticket for every man before you. Love is Irrelevant number 2. I know how this plays out, I said. She looked at me like all the others did. You love me this much because I rescued you. I save women like you from bad relationships and bad marriages. Then you're back on your feet and you get your soul back. You kick my ass to the curb. She shook her head and tried to hold my hands, but I pulled them away. It's okay, I said. I have white knight syndrome, mixed with doormat. I've served my purpose in your life, and now it's time for me to find the next unhappy woman and rescue her. That's what I do. She couldn't argue. I called it. She turned around and walked away. Love is Irrelevant number 3. I know you've been there, Kev. I stood up, shook the admission director's hand, and walked out to the car. I didn't want to go back to Omaha. I didn't want to go back into all that dysfunctional bullshit. I wanted to stay here and make a life for myself here. But that's not what happens in real life. In real life, your mother makes you feel guilty for wanting to be away from her. And not only her, but your loving little sister who has been crying for you since you left. So really, it's best for everyone. Before I left, I dialed Gina's number. It rang twice and she picked up. I wanted to tell her that I was going back to Omaha. That Sean told me they slept together, but I'm willing to let that go. I wanted to tell her that if she didn't want me to go, I would skip college and stay here to be with her. But I said none of that. When she said hello on the other end, I hung up. I hung up like a cowardly douchebag. I kissed Grandma and Grandpa goodbye, and I headed south. Paid a quarter to shit. Here's a poem called The Switch. I wanted to let you know that I found it. I could never figure out how you did it. Cut the emotion. 10 years, 20 years, hell, even 30 years. None of it mattered to you. But you shut it off like that, while I lay in misery. You lived your life as if mine never happened. But that's okay, because I learned the secret too. Click, click, switched off. You're no longer there. Not even a whisper, or an afterthought. I can do it too. I can smile and live my life like yours never happened. Love is Irrelevant, number 4. So here we were in the high school gymnasium, lights splashing on us, mirror balls, putting stars all around us. And that's when the slow dance came on. It was Lady in Red. I asked her if she'd dance a slow one with me, but she never answered. She just took my hand and wrapped her arms around me when we got to our spot. She smelled terrific. It felt great to have her head lying on my chest. I just sang along with the song, reveling in how good it felt to have her this close to me. She looked up at me, those brown eyes searching mine. Then she looked down at my lips, and I moved in and kissed her. And there's a commercial. YouTube, I love you. She looked up at me, those brown eyes searching mine, and then she looked down at my lips, and I moved in and kissed her. It was like lightning hitting me in the chest. I don't know how long we held that first kiss, but it felt like forever. You're still driving? Oh my gosh, Steph. Napkin number 6. Do any of us expect to lose a loved one to death or heartbreak? Fuck no. We're raised on Sesame Street, the Brady Bunch, and Leave It to fucking Beaver. We're lied to for 17 to 18 years of our young lives, and then reality knocks on our door holding a cinder block and an ice pick, ready to take that innocent smile right off your fucking face. Bar napkin number 7. We were so young then, so stupid. Aimless, self-proclaimed superheroes with nothing to save but ourselves. How much whiskey would it take to fly myself from the parapet of a bridge? How many Lexapros would lobotomize your image from my brain? Nobody had an answer for me, so I will look back one last time, say goodbye to my loves, and jump. Here's another poem called If. Oh, no, sorry. This is Love is Irrelevant, number 5. Everything remains irrelevant. Perhaps rephrasing such a statement would be a little more poignant, but in the end, that's everything the following pages represent. Irrelevancy. The tumor is in the bronchus. When a doctor tells you this, your mind stops and focuses on trivial things. Where does the mind go at this point? It floats. Like a case of shock, you think every cigarette you ever smoked, every whiskey you ever drank, every joint and chemical you ingested in your earlier years, and then you begin the regrets. The women you hurt, the children you scolded, the chances you passed up. Pretty soon, they gang up on you like a crowded room, and you're the talk of the party. When you finally snap yourself back to your doctor's appointment, he's finished everything he needed to say. He asks you if you have any questions, and you have a myriad of questions that could last longer than your $30 copay. But you don't voice them, because they haven't taken form yet. They will when you get home, when you tell the girlfriend and she barrages you with well-formed questions, the ones you should have asked. The only thing you know at this point is that your PSA is high, and you're going in for blood work and a CT scan this and next week. But to you, that's fairly pointless. The doctor said, with this kind of cancer, it doesn't fare well on the treatment end. Didn't he? So really, what's the point? The 2 children you brought into this world, that's the point. But for a selfish moment, you can only think of you, That large pool of mud with a sign posted, Mr. Brad's Pity Pool, awaits you. Do you dare wallow there? Well, you test it with your bare toe. So the first call goes to your mom. You were a mama's boy, and sometimes, when things are really bad, she's the only one you can think of to tell. At least, be the first in line in a series of calls. She's waiting in line for dementia, and she's getting near the front. She deserves that much. Hello, son, she says, with a finally tone to her voice. Hey, Ma. Then silence, because you're trying to figure out how to say it without crying and upsetting her. What's up? She probes. And after the first word, the tears start to drip, and you choke on them. I have some bad news, Ma. What's wrong? I have cancer. Lung cancer, in fact. And then it's silence on her end. Mom? Can I call you back, son? You know she's on the cusp of tears. And when Mama cries, it's like Niagara Falls. Yeah, okay. Are you okay, Mom? A loud wail is cut off by her receiver hanging up. You let out a sigh as you hang up on your end. How did she take it? The woman claiming to be your soulmate asks. Not good. Not good. She hung up. Thinks she's crying. Well, I told you that was a bad idea to call her, she starts. She doesn't need to deal with this when she's dealing with her own health problems. What were you thinking? I don't know, you shout. I guess I'm just a big fuck up. So you walk outside and shake a cigarette out of its pack. You think twice about lighting it up because this is probably what got you in trouble in the first place. But your lighter works faster than your mind does, and you inhale. Breathe out, and you dial another number. Bar napkin, number 8. Love is funny. How it goes and comes back to you. Sometimes it just never comes back. Other times, someone else comes along and passes the time with you. But you never come back to that original spot, that you knew eternal bliss. But our memories have a way of tricking us, like when someone dies. We saint them. We remember only the good, and block out all of the bad. In a way, I guess this is a good thing. Love is irrelevant, number 6. So that's me, the guy in the gurney being slammed through a myriad of swinging doors. Outside it's October, and usually it's cold, but it's warm and clear. Inside it's the Omaha Methodist Hospital emergency room. I stare blearily above me as the fluorescents race past. The guy above my head is the one who sat with me in the ambulance, who kept a check on my vitals and kept asking me my name and address and who the President of the United States was. My friend Mindy is at a fast walk beside me on the right, with a worried look on her face. She's pretty in a tomboyish way, a great writer, and an even better guitar player. She's dressed up tonight in her best 80s rocker bitch attire because she was on a date this evening with her future ex-husband. To my left is the attending nurse, peroxide blonde, worn out, in her mid-50s. Her lined face, pear-shaped, keeping pace with the gurney. She was conversing with the guy above my head and the other paramedic whom I couldn't see at my feet. Bradley was all I could really concentrate on. It was Mindy holding my hand, which seemed like such a foreign part of my own universe. Bradley, please be okay. I was numb, and I wish I could have felt something like guilt, because she was my friend. She was the one that found me, her and her boyfriend, Jason, who was somewhere back there in the lobby or somewhere talking to the Douglas County Sheriff's Department about this whacked-out psycho bastard that his girlfriend knows. But that's a world away now. I was heading to my final destination, Operating room number 7. Funny because 7 is my favorite number. Funny how the universe is, isn't it? I was greeted by 2 others in white scrubs, female and much younger than the attending nurse. The room was white, and before my eyes could adjust to its sterility, they had moved my carcass from the gurney to the operation table. The overhead lamp beamed into my bloodshot eyes, and I could feel its heat. The back of the table hummed, and the next thing I knew, I was sitting up. I couldn't see Mindy anymore. A tray table slid in front of me with a baby blue bowl on it, and 2 giant toothpaste tubes. Were they going to brush my teeth? How nice. And they even strapped a bib on me. If this was a dream, and I was really lying on a beach near the Pacific Ocean, then I was in some weird dental office. Maybe I really should see a shrink. "Mr. Bodeker," the attendant nurse asked, "can you hear me?" I nodded. Everyone sounded like they were in a barrel. "Mr. Bodeker, we're going to need to pump your stomach." I shook my head. "We're going to need to get all of those pills out of your system." One of the younger nurses came into view with a long tube of about 3/4 of an inch diameter. "This is going to be uncomfortable, and you'll want to vomit when the tube hits the back of your throat," she droned on. "That's your body's natural reaction, but we're going to need to get every pill we can." "No," I managed to squeak out. "Now just relax, Mr. Bodeker," she approaches me with the tube. "No," I growled through grit teeth. "Why can't you fuckers just let me die?" "Mr. Bodeker," she put on some sort of gel around the tip of the tube. "Just relax and it will be over quicker than you think." "Fuck that." I grabbed her hand. "Let me go," she said sternly. "Get that fucking thing out of my face." My lips tightened and I turned my face away from her. "I think we're going to need to strap him," she mentioned to the paramedics. If this was a movie, they would be paramedic number 1 and paramedic number 2. They would be played by some upstart actors whom would either become the next Brad Pitt or vanish into celluloid obscurity. Either way, the bastard slid a padded strap across my upper arms and torso and strapped it tight. The nurse attempted again, and I grabbed the lower part of her smock and bunched it up in my fist. My hands were then put into padded cuffs in front of me and then strapped down to the sides of the table. "Now you need to cooperate, Mr. Bodeker," she yelled. I still wouldn't comply. She looked up at one of the other nurses. "Can you have Larry come in here?" "Larry?" I shouted in my head. "Who's this mysterious Larry that gets a named part in my movie? Who the fuck was this guy?" Turns out Larry was a brick house. That was probably red-headed, but had shaved his head bald. He walked behind me and then put a padded strap around my head and tightened it down on my forehead. Then he came around to the right side of me and squeezed my cheeks together so my lips would pooch out. The tube went in and just hit the back of my throat. I bit down onto it. "Let it go," the attending nurse shouted. I growled my indifference to her through her clenched teeth. She pulled on the tube and I wouldn't release it until it eventually tore in my mouth. And I was hoping the inertia would send her reeling into a metal table or something. But she had those flat pancake feet in those white Doc Martens, and she only jerked back slightly. She snipped the end of the tube that was ragged with teeth marks and reapplied the lubricating gel on the new tip. "Get his mouth open," she ordered Larry. Larry, though he got a part in this movie with a name, he didn't get a speaking part. That was my only revenge I could get at him. He crushed my cheeks again until I had to open my mouth, and as I did, the tube slid in. So this is what it's like for a woman who gives a man head. Oh my God. The tube made its way into my throat. Larry was holding my jaw open by my chin. I swear to God that nurse enjoyed every inch that she put in me. And that's when the vomit came. It was clear at first. I could smell the mix of scotch and bile as I watched it careen down the tube like a water slide. There were the pills I had taken, one by one, like roller coaster cars. The bottle of pills I took was prescription pain pills. They spilled into the little blue tray. And I thought, at this rate, they would need a new tray. I was right. A new tray took the old one's place. I could feel the damn tube inside of me. It was a dirty feeling of violation. Soon, everything looked blurry, through the tears multiplying in my eyes. When I was able to blink them clear, the attending nurse had one of those toothpaste tubes. She was filling a giant syringe with some kind of black paste. No tube of Crest I had ever seen before. Then the vomit stopped, and I was just dry heaving. She inserted the syringe, full of obsidian paste, in the open end of the stomach tube. She pressed on the plunger, and I watched this black snake crawl up into my mouth and down my throat. Another gag, and then a warm sensation as I passed out into the black. I see, said the blind man to the deaf man sitting at the corner of the round table. Thanks, Bobby. I know a good shrink in the islands. Do ya? When they are done, you will get a little head. Yeah, I wish. Charcoal smoothie, absolutely. Bar napkin number 9. Sometimes I tell myself that this is just a dream. That love you feel, the yearning, is only new love and will fade in an obscurity. And you will no longer want and yearn for me, no longer wish for my touch, my kiss. Sometimes I tell myself that the only reason you want me is because you can't have me. And when I'm yours, you'll tire and bore of me. Don't nod your head. I've been through all this before. And if it's true, I wouldn't blame you. I'm nothing. I'm just another boy who maybe has something you want. But when you have it, will you still desire it? More of it? Sometimes I tell myself yes, that this is true. But my heart, my bipolar heart, says no. Turning from stone to heart, heart to stone, sometimes. And here is another, I don't know what you would call it, but it's called, at 6:53 a.m., the world is lonely. Cold like a stone, the barrel was rammed into his mouth, and its cold steel rested on his ever-quivering tongue. He cocked the hammer back and contemplated pulling that trigger. A quick, snappy answer to so many problems. Relief or rest. What was it he was seeking? A heart away from bliss? It was out of reach, untouchable, and he ached to embrace it. It wasn't death he wanted, really. It was just to be able to rewind his life like a movie in an old VCR. He would heed warnings and react to red flags. Instead of blindly listening to torrid lies and leaving his heart open for pain again, this dreadful thought hammered away at him, leaving a trail of tears running down the sides of his face. Children, his own children, how would they react? Another statistic. They would be angry and disappointed. Sad, yes, but angered at their father's cowardice. The woman, who held his heart, would be saddened and would maybe hurt herself, and he'd never find out how much love there was waiting for him. He uncocked the hammer and pulled out the barrel of his gun. His shoulders heaved as his sobbing increased, and he knelt at the side of his bed. Life was black, sometimes, and it bit you and watched you suffer. Things unseen steer your decisions for future agony. He put the gun in his top sock drawer and went out into the kitchen and made his kids breakfast. All right. So, it's all kinds of happiness here. Here's a poem called Tribes. Walking amid a relentless ocean of waves of people, some lost and blind, others full of drive and purpose. Where do I fall amongst this sea of flesh and bone? Some groups tightly knit within each other, held by glue of social status. Some by misery, others by common goals or clothing allowances. BlackBerry, flip phone, Bluetooth, technological status symbol, the cars, the clothes, the homes, all belong to the same tribal unit. Some even swap wives and DNA. At times, political wars break out, and the battlefield, a noisy raucous chatter between fiber optic lines. No casualties except the open debate. War of the sexes no longer exists. In the open, but secretly, take form of commercial advertisements, racial molds, developed within a written script. Blacks marry blacks and listen to R&B. Women are obsessed with fashion. Men love football and beer and stare at bikini-clad luster. Come on. Is this who we really are? Can't we think without some idiot box or newsprint telling us how? Can't we parent without the government and church? Social services telling us how? We eat, we get fat. We drink, we get drunk. We learn, we succeed. We spend, we go broke. We smoke, we die. Our tribal minds are weak, leaving out what is out there. More, so much more. Culture is dead in the Western world. There is no room for deviation of the norm. Social class with no class. Whose war paint do you wear on that chiseled face? Stretched and loaded with chemical beauty. Open your arms, welcome the unknown, celebrate your holidays. Let others celebrate theirs. It's a new world, if we make it that way. Intertribal relations, throw down the spear, tear down the fortress walls. Share a drink. Share a loaf of bread with someone else. There is more to this beyond the line and the dirt, because after all, that's all we really are. Dirt. And bar napkin number 10. I will mourn this like I mourned all the others, and another will come along, and I may feel the same way, or perhaps the roles will switch. But thank you for the memory of you, something to put in this painful scrapbook, to dwell or die over, or perhaps not. And here's a poem called Stream. What about the Badgers? No Badgers here, man. We won't even need Badgers for tomorrow night's. Just you, Chuck. That's all we need. Stream. Funny how it begins and where it ends. Little events in life leading to somewhere, sometimes nowhere. Some of us drift, follow the currents of fate's cruel hands, end up in rapids of white water turbulence, or fall off into torrential, soul-crushing waterfall oblivion. Some ride canoes, some in kayaks, some inner tubes, others swim naked like babies. Take me somewhere, some tangent tributary, somewhere with culture, where the girls stand on the banks with their pretty little swimsuits, sipping sodas from hourglass Coke bottles, sand in their toes, Ray-Bans covering those heavy-lidded brown eyes, waiting to drown men, young and old, like sirens in a Greek play. Give me music where everything is played from the heart, sung from the soul, the words sang touching us all in the solar plexus, ripping tears from our eyes or forcing smiles from our lips. I want to dance, arms flailing, legs shaking, hips swaying. I want to give the gods and goddesses of song my soul, or what's left of it. Stream, consciousness. Funny where it begins and how it ends, ain't it? Rhetorical farewell. If I were to say goodbye to you today, what bitterness would you hold? What memory would you keep that set me apart from the others? If I were to say farewell, would you kiss me? Hold me longer? Apologize for the past or the present? What would you do if you were to see the darker side of me? Would you run away with a smile on your face? Would you file me away in the daily police report? If you were to find a note written in small, insecure letters, scrawled with a shaky hand next to my expired corpse, would you miss the good times or dwell? Commercials. If you were to find a note written in small, insecure letters, scrawled with a shaky hand next to my expired corpse, would you miss the good times or dwell on the bad? Would you attend my funeral or bury me lonely? I couldn't leave without saying one more goodbye. Bar napkin number 11. I hate every fucking tear in my eye, every fucking clench of my fist, every goddamn ache in my heart, every excuse, every reason, every breath from my lungs, and I just stew in this anger. I baste in this hate, waiting for a chance to release it into the universe and let everyone else wonder who made the rain. Bar napkin number 12. A guy can do everything right and still be wrong. Bar napkin number 13. The meaning of life is just to stay alive. There are so many moments of sheer beauty you will miss. Moments of utter terror. No one experiences your life but you. So don't miss out on it. Bar napkin number 14. When life hands you lemons, cut the lemon open, squirt life in the eyes, and kick it in the crotch. Take its money, and then run. You're welcome for that one. All right, you guys. One more bar napkin. Bar napkin number 14. Grief. It's a delicate ballet of holding on and letting go. I hate this goddamn dance. I'm sick of death and loss, that I sometimes go blind with tears. Alrighty. Alright. I'm not gonna bring you guys down any more than I need to. So, but that was a little peek into my head, into my heart, I guess. Is what that book is, and that was me dealing with a lot of pain, and I was drowning it in whiskey and bad decisions. So, yeah. So that was how I replaced the tunes on Tuesday until I could get this thing fixed. I'm all done with the prednisone, which is good because it had me eating like crazy. And yeah, so I've had it off for a full day, and my entire hand, these 3 fingers and thumb, numbness all the way to my elbow. So I probably need to go see an orthopedic doctor, which I think they may just start throwing pills at me, which I don't want either. Or I may have to think about the chiropractor route. I've heard both schools. I believe in both schools. Aw, thanks, honey. I'll read my thoughts to you anytime you want. Yeah, so I kind of confused as far as which way I should go with the hand issue. It's very, very frustrating to not be able to feel anything with this hand. Because I'm left-handed, and writing is hard, and playing guitar is hard, and those are the two things that fucking help me out, So it's a bit of a struggle, but I'm gonna fight my way through it because that's what I do. I fight shit, whatever. So let me say thank you guys for coming out tonight, this unannounced event, and listening to me pour my heart out to you. Well, at least my old heart. I mean, I don't think like that a lot anymore. So, but yeah, I mean, it was a piece of me, and that's kind of how I dealt with things when I wrote them down. So, now some of you guys know where I come from, and actually some of you guys knew me back then. So now you understand why I was as fucked up as I was back then. Anyhow, yes, thank you again, you guys. Thanks for coming here and listening and sharing your thoughts and your happiness with me. And that's what keeps me going. Thank you to those of you that tried pulling me out of my little pit of doom and despair in the past week. Don't think that I don't appreciate it. I just, I'm just used to doing things my way, and eventually I make my way out. So anyhow, thank you to those of you that are doing that. Kevin, if I saw right, I see that you are in Minnesota. But I know you got kids and a grandkid. Is that right? Something like that going on. So yeah, I know you got things going on. You got family or whatever. You and I will connect somehow, some way at some time. I'm going to be going to Logan, Iowa this weekend to go see my nephew play football. 'Cause family's important. And it's his birthday. So, so I got that going on. Anyhow, I will see you guys here tomorrow night. Oh, you're in Florida yet. Okay. All right, cool. I will see you guys here tomorrow night, hopefully, and we will read The Death of Lou Bradford in the Horror Hump Days. I'll be sending the invites out tonight. I've been away from this machine for so long. I keep forgetting that I've got all these responsibilities to do and to keep this thing going. And I've been doing so well online. Thank you, Beth. Thank you very much. I'm glad to hear that you're feeling better. Also, I heard you were down for a while. So, yeah. So I've got to get things back into gear. Tomorrow I go back to work. Ugh. And then, so there's that. But, I'll send the invites out for tomorrow night. It's a different kind of story tomorrow night. It's, it's not your usual gloom and doom and death and bloody gore stuff. It's supernatural. Yes, of course. But it's a little introspective on death. So, and I think you guys will like it. And, oh yeah, the hurricane, man. Dude, I'm just glad you guys are safe. I'm glad you guys are safe. I have a buddy that lives out on, Panama City, and I was really worried about him. He's already lived through one hurricane, and, he didn't know if he could take another one. So, yeah, Kevin won't be scared after tomorrow night's story. So, and Shannon, you shouldn't be either, even though it's about a cop that dies at a very familiar jail. You guys are both retired, so you don't have to worry about that anymore. No, Bobby, it's not a Christmas story, but I do have a Christmas story coming up for a holiday special in December, about Santa Claus's evil twin, of course. So you have to be ready for that. Oh, also, for the Halloween special, I'm going to start putting prompts out there for you guys to put your 2 cents in there, and I'm going to take all your guys' answer to the prompts, and I'm going to make it into a flash horror story and read it for you Halloween night. So that should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. So, yeah. Well, fuck. I'm glad all my friends are healthy and happy and are alive. And I'm very happy to see you all here. Thank you very much. I would not have lived this long in my life without you. So, hang loose, bros. All right. See you guys tomorrow night. Thanks again. And love you. Mwah. Deuces. And yeah, Kevin, I'm not clapping either. Mofo. I should just. Yeah, see? There, I did it now. Fuck.